Hey, welcome back to Maybe Actually Museums Are For Me. I'm Alex, host of the podcast. It's been a little while, it feels like, since we've had a regular episode of the sort. I apologize, I've been traveling, and that's kind of what this episode's about. I was just out in France visiting my girlfriend. She just moved there. She's doing a English teaching program where she's at a French school teaching little, small French kids English. So she's there for a little while. I'm going to be going out and visiting her a couple times. This was my first trip, and obviously I try to go to museums everywhere I go. So I visited a lot of museums. It was great. And we're going to talk about it a little bit. Melissa is on mic. We're not doing a special intro of the sort. We're kind of just jumping right into it. But Melissa, it's been over a week since I've seen you. How are you?
Yes, welcome back, Alex.
We had a little bit of, I feel like I had separation anxiety from like my favorite coworker.
Yeah, it was, I had the office all to myself.
Yeah, was it like when your like older sibling like goes on like vacation or like goes to college or whatever?
Not that intense.
Okay, all right.
But people were looking for you, and I kind of had to remind them that you were not reachable.
Yeah, I mean, I could have been reachable. I know that like you yell at me pretty often about like going away and like checking my email and
I
like
never yell.
Well, yeah, but you did text me once to like let me know about something that was very exciting, and I was happy to hear. But yeah, I was absolutely like stalking my emails and like checking on things and stuff, but trying my best to like do it at a distance and like not respond.
Yeah, but I think you had a good time in France. I don't know if you brought anything back with you, maybe some jewels or the likes.
Yeah, they didn't catch me. No, I'm just kidding. The day that I left for Paris, I believe, was the day the jewels got stolen when the grand heist happened.
As soon as I saw it, I thought of you because I know you were briefly thinking about like going to the Louvre.
Yeah, because we weren't staying in Paris. That was the thing. We were staying in a smaller city in the southeast of France. Not really the south. When you think of the south of France, it's like not the south of France. It's kind of close to, sort of in between Paris and Geneva, give or take. It's near Lyon. Actually, it's quite close to Lyon. It's called Dijon. If you know the mustard, that's the region. It's Dijon. But yeah, we were staying there, and so I had to fly into Charles de Gaulle, and yeah, I believe that was the day that the heist happened. Yeah. So like I was like on the train coming back, or like leaving Paris to go to Dijon, and I was just like reading the updates. It was kind of surreal. It was quite strange.
Yeah.
I believe it opened though within a couple days. Obviously, now knowing what we know, I think they've caught 2 of them. I think they caught one of them at Charles de Gaulle like a day before I went to Charles de Gaulle. They didn't get me though.
No.
Again, that's kidding. I know what my Halloween costume's going to be though now.
Yeah, everyone's going to be the jewel thief.
I mean, it works. I was there.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like they always talk about like, where were you when JFK got shot? Or like, where were you when like the New York City blackout happened? And it's like,
where were you when the Louvre got robbed?
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like, yeah. I don't know. It's strange, but it was not, I mean, to say it was cool, but yeah, it was cool. It was cool to be there when it happened. It was very surreal. Obviously, like all jokes aside, an enormous like cultural travesty and a horrible thing. And hopefully they will be returned. That's definitely like fingers crossed and praying for that, because it's a lot of history, and to put the money aside for a second, I learned a lot about what the Louvre did to like get these, because I think after obviously like the revolution and everything, there was an effort to forego France of their monarchy and like obviously like their royal history, and a lot of the jewelry was sold off. I think a lot of the jewelry actually ended up in America at like, I could be slightly wrong, so I'm going to fact check myself and maybe put an asterisk in the description, but I believe like some of the royal jewels were like sold to Tiffany's and stuff at the time, and they eventually, through a lot of legwork and financial commitment, the Louvre did get them returned. So yeah, it's sad to see them taken in this manner, and with any luck they'll be returned. But yeah, that was not obviously like that was a big part, that the big thing nationally that happened, or internationally,
we can't not
that happened on my trip. Regardless, yeah, so I was in France did a lot of traveling. And I just thought this episode would be a cool time to take a moment and maybe talk about like the differences between American museums and the French museums I visited, the experience that I had, and ultimately talk about one of the, obviously not the reason I was there, but one of the things that I was really looking forward to seeing, which was John Singer Sargent, Dazzling Paris. If that sounds eerily familiar to you, you are not wrong. It's because that show was recently at the Met under a different title, Sargent and Paris. The show is currently on loan to the Musée d'Orsay, and I thought this was a great opportunity for me to visit the Musée d'Orsay because I had never been. I'd been to the Louvre the last time I was in Paris. This time we visited the d'Orsay, and I have a lot of thoughts. But yeah, so how do we want to do this, Melissa? Do you want to just like pepper me with questions? We were kind of talking off mic before we jumped in, and I was like, all right, let me roll.
Yeah.
So what was the thing you were asking me?
Because I'm actually going abroad this coming week. I'm going to London.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of researching where I want to go in terms of art museums because I obviously have to go see some art while I'm there. And I've noticed that basically everything I've looked up, it's free to go to the main, at least the main collection of the museum. Some of them have special entrance fees for like traveling exhibitions or special exhibitions. So I was just wondering like if you experienced that in Paris in terms of like what admission was like.
Yeah. So,
or not Paris, France.
Yeah, no, but it's kind of, it's interchangeable for this case. So yes, essentially I kind of assumed, just basing off of my experience at museums in America, in the States, the normality is you pay to enter. There's an admission fee unless you're a member. The only sort of kind of caveat to that is in DC, where the Smithsonian.
With Smithsonian's and the National Museum.
And so when I got to France, the first museum we visited was I want to make sure I get the name of this right because I am not a fluent French speaker.
Did they just start speaking English back to you?
No. So, okay.
Sorry, right. Off the tangent.
So I don't speak really any French. The response that I was often giving was put on "Je ne parle pas français," which means sorry, I don't speak French. But no, it was one of those things where I noticed a lot of people, because my girlfriend is fluent, and so she would often talk for me, and I was just like the happy golden retriever kind of in the corner. And, you know, I would walk in, I'd say, bonjour, ça va, like, you know. Then I'd be spoken to, and I'd have to, like, the facade falls, the curtain falls. Yeah. But I'll tell you, everywhere I go, there was people that were next to me that, like, were either American or English, or there was, like, Australians that I ran into. I'm sure there was Canadians, but, like, there was English-speaking people who did not speak French, who, you know, in the customs line, for example, or maybe not the customs line, but the security line in Charles de Gaulle, they would talk to them in English just looking at them, and then they'd get to me and they'd start talking in French. So like maybe I have a French look about me.
Maybe you look French.
I don't know, but yeah, no, people would talk to me in French quite a bit. But anyway, the museum is called Musée des Beaux-Arts, which I think is literally just translates to the Fine Art Museum. It's the flagship museum in Dijon. It's a gorgeous building. It is gorgeous. And if you're ever in Dijon, first off, visit Dijon. It's a cool little city outside of Paris. It's about, if you get a TGV, it's about a 90-minute train ride. It's really worth it. Honestly, like 4 or 5 days stay. It's very affordable. It's worth your time. And there's plenty of museums. There's a natural history museum. There's the Fine Art Museum. There's another museum that I went to. There's a bunch of sculpture museums. It's really, really great. We walk into this museum, and I had looked up and saw that it was free. Like you kind of mentioned, that all of these institutions say that they're free. And so we go up to the thing. You still have to like visit a desk. You can't just walk in. You have to like actually check in. My girlfriend talks for us, and she ends up giving the place where she's staying. So she says the name of the town that she's living in right now. And then they just said, okay, here's your tickets, go. Like, have fun, go. And the other thing that I noticed before I kind of continue is that they really like to guide you. Like they're very specific about how you like move through an exhibition and transition from one show to the next. And so they were very specific to be like, there's a small little gallery down here, visit that first, and then we want you to go around here and up the stairs, and that's going to start you at where we want you to begin. And the only other experience like that in America that I had was at the National Gallery in DC, where they kind of process you in a way. They don't force you, but like there is certainly like a path that you can follow throughout the entire like exhibitions. This is the same way where they're like, we would really prefer for you to process around. And that museum was really cool. I got to see, they had everything from, they start in with ancient Egyptian art. They have some Roman art. They have some Greek art. But they also do a really good job of balancing some of those ancient works with paintings by individuals like Robert, who painted those kind of Greek and Roman architecture that then bleeds into like more of the Renaissance type art. They had a really prolific Renaissance collection that was quite beautiful. Plenty of amazing sculpture work, and then they also had really great contemporary stuff too. That was really exciting to see, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, so it was free. They just wanted to know where we lived. And then a couple days later, I stumbled across another museum that was like a sculpture garden almost thing, but it was like in maybe like an old church or an opera house. I'm not really sure, but it's just kind of like it was open. It was open. It was called the Musée Rude, and I walk in and it's open, and there's this gorgeous, like probably like, I don't know, a couple 100 feet tall, like this this ginormous sculpture that I can't even put into words. And then all of a sudden I hear, bonjour, ça va? And I spun around and there's like a woman sitting at a desk that I didn't even like see was there. And I was like, oh, sorry, how are you? I was like, is there a fee to enter? And she was like, no, where are you from? Where are you coming from? And I was like, oh, the US. And they were like, great, thanks, have fun. Yeah. Like same thing. I went to another museum. This was more of a traditional, honestly, like French salon style museum that was like in an old, not palace, but like it was in a very like rich house, like kind of in the way that like the Frick is like in a mansion. It was kind of like that. Yeah. And it was very cool to walk through that building. That museum was called Musée National Magin, something like that. I don't know. I can't really pronounce it. I kind of stumbled across it. I did not seek it out specifically. I was like walking down a road and I was like, huh, this is a museum. And yeah, I walked in and that was the French salon style. And yeah, that also same thing. Where are you from? US. Great. And then at the Musée d'Orsay, I don't know if it was free. I don't believe it was free. Me and Alyssa did buy tickets. We bought them through booking.com because it was really difficult apparently recently to get tickets to the Musée d'Orsay. It's been jammed. And so we bought through booking.com and our ticket included also the extra exhibitions. So I think there were technically like those were ticketed exhibitions, but I didn't see anyone checking at the door. Like it seemed like everyone was kind of just like wandering in. So yeah, but no, it was great. Yeah, and when I was at the d'Orsay, I got to see Sargent and Paris, which at the d'Orsay is called Dazzling Paris, and that was an interesting thing because I stumbled into Ira, our executive director. He's in Paris for a little while. And we got coffee before we went to the d'Orsay, and he got a tour / kind of like meet up with the curator of the show. And he was kind of telling me that for Sargent, he's not like a well-known figure within French, like, art world kind of history knowledge. Like it's just not, he's not a figure that they care about, frankly. And so this is kind of the first introduction, or really a proper reintroduction to a modern audience of who John Singer Sargent was, this American, obviously in a fraught time with, how people are perceiving America across the world. It's a reintroduction in a lot of ways, and it's a very powerful one. And what I noticed was really interesting is, obviously the show also exhibited at the Met. We talked about that on the show previously. It was a really big thing when it was at the Met. It's even cooler now because, our painting, it's called Ernest Ange Duez. It's a portrait that Sargent did of one of his colleagues, his painting colleagues, a French painter. And it's amazing. It's one of the premier landmark kind of pieces within MAM's permanent collection, and it's been on loan for a while now. And for it to be included in this kind of international reintroduction is like a very powerful and important thing, and really like a thing to be proud of. And certainly I don't know if I would have flown all the way to Paris just to see this painting, but being there and having the opportunity to go see it again felt important.
Yeah,
and
it was
really
a
cool.
happy coincidence.
It was a very happy coincidence. And I'd be walking through the gallery, and it's all French people. Like, it's not really like there was a couple of American tourists that I heard in there and stuff, but a lot of the times I would kind of lean over to Alyssa and be like, what are people saying? Like, can you kind of like interpret a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
And she was kind of just reiterated that like everyone was really, not to throw the name of the show back at it, but they were dazzled. Like, it was really, really, I think people were truly impressed. And what I thought was fascinating is the Met's one of their premier, most prized paintings in the entire collection is Madame X.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's certainly, for a reason, one of Sargent's best paintings. But what I found funny is that like when Sargent and Paris was at the Met, even though Madame X was on view all of the time, like I had seen Madame X dozens of times, I didn't feel that need to like stand in front of it and like gaw over it in the show.
Neither did I. I mean, I went there, and I specifically went there just to see artwork when I happened to be in the Met, and I like kind of run through the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But I did notice Madame X, like the most people were there, and it had the most like supporting, not documents, but supporting like works or pieces where there were studies of it. There was like a whole room dedicated to it. It was like, yeah.
And they had all of that at the D'Orsay. It's not that people didn't care, but like what I kind of noticed was that people weren't necessarily like oogling over it the way that I felt like the American audience was. I think that what I and even like my girlfriend, who she's not as much of an active consumer of art and exhibitions as I am, which is, one part because of my genuine interest and one part also because it's my job and I have to know what's going on and be tapped into it. So like for her, it was really interesting because, we've been to the Met together, we've been to the Louvre together, we've been to many art museums together, and our tastes are a little different at times, but I think for her, she really loves sculpture work. She's very like interested in like the human form and actually like physicality of pieces, where like I like more flat, obviously like paintings, traditional like fine art works. And with the Sargent show, she was really, really impressed. And obviously she remembered the Sargents that we had on view last season in our show, A Shared Love. But she's like, I don't really get what the allure of Madame X is. Obviously it's beautiful, but like I've seen 5 other paintings in this like, room alone that are far more intricate and detailed. And like I think that was kind of like the taste that the French had, was like, you have these paintings that Sargent did of like, I think of like the it's like the nun holding her arms out with like the shawl. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
That is like so intricate and so precise. And like to see it again, like I've seen it a bunch of times. I'd seen it at like when I went to the Met for Sargent and Paris. Seeing it in this light, like I really like took some time with it and like was just genuinely so blown away by it. But yeah, alas, that was my time in Sargent and Paris. But yeah, no, it was great. France was great. I'll be going back a few more times, so hopefully I can visit a few more museums.
Yeah.
You said at the top of this that you are traveling to London. What are the places you're trying to hit? What artists are you trying to see? What's on the bucket list, if there is one?
I want to go to the Tate and the Tate Modern, just see their permanent collection. I'd been to London. I went when I was in high school, and we didn't go to the Tate, so I'm really interested in going to the Tate. I want to go to the Victoria and Albert Museum. They have a great collection of like decorative arts that I think is beautiful. They're having a show all about Cartier and like jewelry, and I'm like, that looks so interesting. And then I actually wasn't sure if I was going to go to the National Gallery of London, just because it's so much and so overwhelming in the way that all national galleries are. Yeah. But I was like, let's just see if there's anything, because I couldn't remember like if what were the highlights of their collection, or what do they like tout. And they have a sunflower. They have a Van Gogh. I'm like, oh, I'm going. I have to go. So
I'll tell you
there.
what, Melissa. I'll tell you what.
What?
There were so many Monets and so many Van Goghs and so many Renoirs and so many Degas and so many Manets at the d'Orsay that like
d'Orsay's great.
Hundreds. And like I'll tell you what, like when you see a Monet in front of you or a Van Gogh in front of you, you feel like you're a Degas in front of you. You feel like you have to spend time with it.
Yeah.
When there's hundreds of,
it can be hard when
what,
there's a lot.
I'm Monet out.
Yeah,
I'm Monet out.
Yeah,
I don't need to see a Monet for a little while.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's great. So listen, I hope you have a great trip.
Thank
you deserve it. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and I'll have to come back and we'll have to
do this again.
Another podcast
we'll do this again.
with me.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. All right. Well, this is the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. The museum's open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are social. Subscribe, rate, review, the whole nine, wherever you listen to podcasts. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.